For today's lesson, we are continuing our study of the standard from grade 8 Expressions and Equations, Standard C, Analyze and Solve Linear Equations. The topic for this video lesson comes from Simplifying and Solving Equations unit, and today we're looking at steps to simplify and compare two algebraic expressions. Our essential question today is, how can we use the steps to simplify algebraic expressions to compare their values? Please take a moment, pausing the video if you need to set up your header. Be sure to include the question column and the note column, and of course, don't forget to date it. And then resume the video when you're ready to begin. So if your notes are all set up, let's go ahead and dive right in. So to begin to answer our essential question, we're going to need to follow 3 steps. And we've already learned this first step as we simplified expressions in the last few video lessons. So the 3 steps start with simplifying each expression. So we know to do that we need to flip all tiles from the negative region up to the positive region, and we've started to get accustomed to referring to that as the distributive property. And then we combine like terms and remove all 0 pairs. And while I haven't officially written this down, we've been doing this. Each time we do one of these steps, we record each new simplified expression. So we're going to start with that'll still be our same first step, but as we're trying to compare them, then we're going to start to say, okay, what do they both have? And remove those identical tiles. So we'll look for things that they have in common that we can remove, and then the third step is anything that is remaining on each expression mat, then we'll use that to compare the 2 expressions. So let's go ahead. We have one example today that we're going to go through to practice these 3 steps. So for this one, I've actually drawn it out closer to how I expect yours to look in your notes, and so the circles I'm using as the unit tiles, and then I'm labeling what we have here. So let's go ahead. I'll show you what I have on the left. I'm going to write the expression, and then I'm going to see if you can write the expression for the right. So here's our expression on the left. I have an x tile, I have -2 unit tiles, and 2 positive unit tiles. So far I have x minus 2 plus 2. That would be for the top region. And then in the negative region, I have a positive 3. So using this as your model, go ahead and see if you can write the expression for the right-hand side. And we'll say that's just a little pen mark, so that doesn't count for anything. Let's go ahead and see. So I started with the upper region, the positive region, with an x tile, 3 negative, so x minus 3 plus 2 is what I would have for the expression in the top. And then in the negative region, so minus -2. Alright, so we're going to follow the steps we have been doing. We've been doing it for 1 at a time. Now we have 2. So we want to simplify each expression, the expression on the left and the expression on the right. And so we'll remember that first means we want to flip all the tiles from the negative region up to the positive region. And then we want to combine like terms and remove 0 pairs. So we're going to do this in 1 step. So mine is going to be completely simplified. Yours may have some marks on it. So let's go ahead and actually mark this one up. So if we take these tiles and flip them up, and these tiles and flip them up, then it's going to look something like this. We still have a positive x tile. We have these 2 positives and 2 negatives units. And then these 3 positives that were in the negative region flipped up to be 3 negatives up in the top region. So that'd be for the left. On the right hand side, we still have this positive x tile, and we have 2 positive unit tiles, 3, I've just moved it a little bit, 3 negative unit tiles, and these 2 negatives flipped up and became 2 positives. So all we've done here is flip them, but then we'd also want to remove anything that are 0 pairs. So starting on the left, these two positives will cancel out with these two negatives. So for today, I'm just going to actually delete these off. Those would get all removed because they were 0 pairs. And then like this negative will cancel out with this positive. This positive will cancel out with that negative. And this positive will cancel out with this negative. So there we would have flipped all tiles from the negative region up to the positive region, showed that there, and then we removed combined like terms, remove 0 pairs, and so this is what we would have remaining on the left and on the right. So this is where we're going to write our expressions. So what expression do we have here on the left, and what expression do we have here on the right? Go ahead and see if you can fill that in. So on the left we should have an x minus 3, and on the right we should have an x plus 1. Remember, we start with variable terms in the beginning, and the constant, just number terms, should always be at the end of our expressions or equations. So we've done step 1, which is to simplify each expression, and that's what we've really been working on to practice this week. So now we want to be able to compare these, and so to compare them, our second step says that we have to remove any identical tiles from each side. Are there any tiles that we see on the left and on the right that are exactly the same? Yeah, we have these X tiles, right? So we're going to actually want to pull those off. You might want to draw circles in here with arrows. Hey, I'm taking these, I'm pulling those off. And let's draw in what remains. So if we do that, here's what we end up with remaining on our left expression, and here's what we have remaining on our right expression. Go ahead and fill that in. What do we have? Well, here on the left we have negative 3, and on the right we have positive 1. So now we've done the first two steps. Here's what we started with. We wrote our expressions. We simplified them by flipping all the tiles from the negative region to the top region, basically using the distributive property, and then we combined like terms and remove 0 pairs. So that's how we ended up here. And then to start to compare them, we said, wait, they both have an X tile, so if we take them off, it'll still be balanced. We've taken the same thing from each side. And on the left expression, we have negative 3 remaining, and on the right expression, we have 1. So now we can just look at these, and it's all number values, so we can compare. How does negative 3 compare to positive 1? We'd say something like, well, negative 3 is less than 1, so the right expression is greater. So that's where we're going to move towards next as we start to work through this unit on simplifying and solving expressions. So we're going to go from simplifying expressions to being able to compare two different expressions as we move our way to be able to solve expressions. So please take a moment, make sure that your notes are fully complete, and come ready to continue working on this in class.